All right, we're going to call to order the City of Wilmington Board of Adjustments meeting. Today is Thursday, August 15th. It is 1 o'clock. Before we go forward, I'm going to read the Board of Adjustments introduction. Hearing before the Board of Adjustments are quasi-judicial in nature. Decisions of the board are based on the record of these proceedings. To grant a variance requires concurrent vote of 4/5 of the members of the board. To reverse or modify determination of an administrative official requires a simple majority. Evidence submitted to the board for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of the board's decision are to Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of filing the board's order in the planning division. A hearing before the board is conducted in accordance with rules of procedure. Those who want to testify in case are sworn in as witnesses. The chairperson will recognize those who want to testify or their attorneys for presentation of evidence during the hearing. To ensure that all testimony is properly recorded, we ask that you please come forward to address the board, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Before we go on, we'll swear in those that are going to speak today.
All right, I'll ask that staff, applicants, and members of the public who wish to speak today will stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next item would be the approval of the minutes from the July 18th, 2024 meeting. Entertain a motion. Does all look good to you?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 18th, 2024 meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Those pass. Our next item is old business, and we'll go ahead. There's two items that I guess are going to be cleared up. Item number one for 1441 Eastwood Road. They've asked to withdraw that item.
Yes, this is for the iFly case that we heard last month, and they continued to allow time to revise their request, but they decided to withdraw that item altogether.
All right, and we don't need a motion or anything that. We can just acknowledge that. And this, just to clear up, there is another item, item number 3, 4009 Masonboro Loop Road. They have asked for a continuance.
Yes, they would like to continue to the September meeting to allow for a full complement of the board to consider their item.
All right, we will need a motion for that. Is there anyone who would make a motion for that?
I'd like to make a motion to extend item 3, 4009 Masonboro Loop Road to the September 19 meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We'll continue that to September 19th. Our next item is new business. It involves 604 and 608 Shipyard Boulevard, a variance to section 18-205, drive-through facility configuration and expansion, and variance to section 18-391, subsection B, to exceed the additional 30 square feet of signage allowed within 2 feet of a drive-through aisle. And Catherine, are you doing this?
Yes, sorry, Bentley Ernest apologizes, but she's not able to be here today, so I will present this item. This is the site showing the proposed Chick-fil-A location. This site is made up of 2 parcels. 604 Shipyard Boulevard is approximately 0.43 acres, and 608 Shipyard Boulevard is 1.98 acres. The subject property is located in the Regional Business District, and which it does allow for restaurant facilities. According to New Hanover County permit record, 604 Shipyard Boulevard contains an existing 4,900 square foot commercial structure that would be demolished for this new proposed construction. The new building would be approximately 5,397 square feet, and it is a fast food restaurant with a 2-lane drive-through and associated equipment, and that would be located between the proposed commercial structure and the Shipyard Boulevard right-of-way. Restaurants are permitted by right in the Regional Business District, but drive-through facilities are classified as an accessory use, and there are prescribed conditions for that use, including that the drive-through facility shall not be located between a building and a right-of-way, and that it shall not be on the same side of the building as the primary entrance. The applicant has requested a variance from that code provision to allow the drive-through between the building and Shipyard Boulevard, which is also where the primary entrance will be located. Another code section, 18391, sets forth standards for signage for drive-through facilities, and the applicant has requested for the 2-lane drive-through to be allowed to have an additional sign in the drive-through facilities. They state that their corporate standard menu board signage has an area of 27.45 square feet, and to allow for 2 of those menu boards, they would need to install 54.9 square feet of drive-through signage. And that would be 24.9 square feet over what's allowed. The applicant submitted this application for a variance on July 2nd, 2024, and this matter is set for hearing before the Board of Adjustment today. I'd like to enter the case summary and all of the attachments into the record, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have of staff. I will just kind of go through these slides. This shows the zoning across the street. It's commercial services. On the same side of the street, it's all zoned regional business. And this is the proposed site plan. It's Shipyard Boulevard there to the north, and you can see the drive-through facility going between the building and the street.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Catherine at this time? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll acknowledge the owner and the agent for this matter.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Johnson with the law firm of Williams Mullen at 301 Fayetteville Street, Suite 1700 in Raleigh, here on behalf of the applicant, Chick-fil-A. Catherine did a good job summarizing where we are. It's basically the issues that we're dealing with have to do with the drive-through and Chick-fil-A's experience over the last few years in terms of what works really well, and that is having the double drive-throughs to stack cars on site rather than them ending up off site and creating a safety issue. And let me go through this. Of course, as Catherine said, 18205B says a drive-through facility shall not be located between a building and a right-of-way, nor on the same side of the building as the primary entrance. The definition section talks about drive-through facility. It talks about all features associated with the drive-through, but it really focuses on the order boxes, the windows, payment windows, pickup windows, and those points of interaction. In this case, those points are not in between the building and the right-of-way. They're actually on the sides of the building. And the principal entrance is actually on the opposite side of Shipyard Boulevard because of the location of the access. The access is not coming as a direct separate driveway, but through an existing road and coming in through the back, which actually works better too, to manage traffic. As you can see here, the 2 stacking lanes are between Shipyard Boulevard and the building. The primary entrance is on the other side opposite Shipyard Boulevard, so that's where the primary entrance is. And the order point and delivery points are on the sides of the building, so they're not between the right-of-way and Shipyard of Shipyard Boulevard and the building. And as you can see, that side road is where the traffic will come in. This is really not unlike the current Chick-fil-A at Mayfair. Same type of situation. The building faces a side road, and the stacking lane is between the building and Military Cutoff. Very, very similar. So that's basically the stacking lane variance or the drive-through variance that we're talking about. The second is because we have 2 drive-through lanes, we need menu boards, a menu board for each lane. And the ordinance allows 30 square feet for an extra menu board, but doesn't account for 2 drive-through lanes, which, again, the Chick-fil-A's are all going to the double lanes. So they need to have that extra signage in order to be able to serve both lanes. It's not totally 30 square feet that the ordinance allows. It's 27.45, so we're really not doubling. We're below doubling what the ordinance allows, but that's to allow that access. And I'm glad to answer any questions. I've got the project engineer and a representative from Chick-fil-A if you have any particular questions about the site plan and about how this is set up.
Okay, and I wanted to let you go ahead and to acknowledge yours. You do understand that you have to have a total vote of all 4 of us for
Right,
that.
correct.
I know there was correspondence. I just wanted to get that on the record.
No,
After
no,
it reminded me.
absolutely, and we
I just want to
realize
make sure
that.
it went on the record for everybody. Okay.
No, absolutely. We realize that. We're fine with that.
All right.
Because we really feel like this is pretty straightforward in terms of what we're trying to do. We're not doing anything extraordinary. And again, It's to prevent traffic from backing up onto Shipyard. We don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen at any location. And this gives the extra space to be able to do that with the double stacking and keep that on site.
All right, anyone have any questions at this time? All right, thank you, sir. We'll
Thank
probably
you.
we will have some, I'm sure, after that we get going.
All right.
Thank you. Anything from the, extra for the city at this point?
Nothing further from staff.
Okay. At this time, we'll go ahead and open the evidentiary hearing and ask anyone that's present to present any additional material or substantive evidence in this matter. Come forward. Right. Not seeing any, so we're, but being the fact, we'll go ahead and we'll close the evidentiary hearing and go into questions for the city related. Does the city have anything to add regarding to the applicant's presentation?
Could the applicant demonstrate on the site plan where the signs are proposed to be installed?
The signs will be in this location, so when you come in and you're ordering, the menu boards will be in this general location. And the delivery point is, of course, on the other side right here. And we'll meet the other requirements of the ordinance, which it does require that they not face the street and that sort of thing, and they be shielded. That's not a problem. No desire to do that. And really, the general issue here is just the site configuration where we can't put the drive-through lanes in the other location. And it's really kind of a better situation because we don't have a driveway directly off Shipyard. We use an existing access. And I think that helps a whole lot. So you orient the building toward the back instead of facing Shipyard.
Okay. Yes, sir.
To the right of the building, is that an easement right there?
Right here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes. To the right of that. There's that dashed area. Can you see it?
I think he might be looking at the outdoor seating area.
There's an outdoor seating area on that side. Is that it?
No, it's outside of the parcel, immediately adjacent to the parcel on the east. Is that a setback on the other side?
Let me make sure. Is that set? I think there may be another road on that side. Is that what that is, Ryan?
Are they talking about this one right here?
This right here. What's
No,
this?
that's the setback line.
Okay, right next to it is a setback line, and the other is the other
Or
parcel.
the large dash line right there, that's our proposed LOD line for on-site disturbance grading. That's
Okay.
our-
Gotcha.
But the other side, there is a setback.
Gotcha. And immediately adjacent is a fire station?
Yes.
Other questions? And, we're bound by the four findings of fact. Would you want to elaborate how?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that.
Just for the record,
And
yes.
I meant to do that earlier, and I apologize, but let me go back to that. Yeah, if you could pull that back. Yeah, I'll keep my finger off. Unnecessary hardship resulting from the strict application of the ordinance. Again, because of the configuration of this site and where we're accessing it, that's what's creating the hardship. And because we're doing dual stacking lanes, we need to have the additional signage. And it's a public safety issue with this site, but also because the way the site's configured, as I said earlier, the primary entrance faces away from Shipyard Boulevard. It does result from conditions that are peculiar to the property. It results from where the access is on this property as it exists. The hardship did not result from our actions. It was already set up that way when we purchased the property. It was already set up to have access coming from that side road. And the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance. Again, the primary purpose is you don't have drive-through lanes going across your principal entrance. You have people coming in and out of the restaurant and having to cross drive-through lanes. I mean, to be honest, that's the big issue, which we don't have here. So we don't have that health and safety issue. And then we are having to double stacking lanes to prevent traffic from backing up onto to the road. And the whole idea is to manage a site in a way that it will not create traffic issues, and the traffic won't back up. And so and from our position, it does fit with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance in order to be able to service drive-through patrons in a safe manner.
Okay. All right, thanks. Does anyone have any questions? All right, this is for the city. Regarding the signage, our code doesn't really address double drive-through, so it is a nuance that we might be seeing more often. I mean, I know we don't take care of that, but I was just curious your thoughts on.
Right.
on this.
I mean, the code does allow for on-premises signage, and it does have a special provision allowing for drive-through signage, but it is limited to just one because a typical drive-through is just one lane.
Okay, yeah, and my point to ask that question is like opening, because if we do one thing for one place and we open it up, but trying to figure out how that is a differential, so, okay.
Well, Catherine and I talked a little bit about it beforehand. I mean, it's probably something that should be considered in a text amendment if you're going to continue to have double drive-through lanes, which are a good thing. I know DOT and transportation folks really like it because they get concerned about traffic backing up into the road, and it keeps that from happening. And so you're able to not only keep the traffic off the road, but also service the customers more efficiently so they can get in and out quicker.
So, and just for the sake of the record, each sign would, if it was by itself, would meet the ordinance. You all right?
That's right.
No worries. So, but probably for the city, if there was only one sign, they would meet the ordinance. They're one sign size. But
Yes, sir.
because, yeah, I just want to make sure we're clear on that. All right. Anybody have any questions of the applicant or the city?
I would, while you're standing there, just like to ask, and you touched on a bit, I believe, with the pedestrian conflicts, but did you guys pursue a design that would have had the drive-through on the southern side of the building and the building closer to Shipyard Boulevard to avoid it being between the building and the street?
We did, but that would end up having to, add a driveway on Shipyard, which we were trying to avoid. We were trying to use it so that we could use that existing access off the side road. I think if I understand what you're saying.
Can you, I'm sorry, sir, you'll have to speak into the mic. We can't hear you sometimes.
I apologize.
No, you're good.
Shifting it more toward that side road.
To the southern side of the building altogether and shifting the building up closer.
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Brent Evanston. I'm a development lead for Chick-fil-A, 103 St. Andrews Drive, North Wilkesboro.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. If we put, make sure I understand the question, Catherine, but if we put the building up on the street and had the drive-through on the south side, the downside of that is all our customers that enter the dining room or enter the restaurant has to cross the drive-through. And hopefully everyone has their favorite menu item at Chick-fil-A. And you've been to a drive-through and you've been to Chick-fil-A and you have some of the traditional layouts where you park on the perimeter of the site and you have to cross the drive-through to get into the restaurant. Well, this is what we call an isolated drive-through. And that means we put the drive-through on the outside of the site. So it's a safer environment for our customers. So if I have kids want to go in and play in our playground or want to come in and order and stay, families come in, they don't have to cross drive-through lanes to enter the restaurant. That's the downside of doing what Catherine, one of the downsides of doing what Catherine, the question that she asked. Does that make sense?
So it would put, so you won't have pedestrians having to go across to access. And then earlier, it was said that the main entrance is actually on the south portion of the building versus, so.
It is, correct. The main entrance to the restaurant's on the south side.
South side where the parking lot
Right,
faces
okay,
the building.
that's-
Yes.
Okay.
Was that, Catherine, I don't know if that answered your question.
It does, and it's the answer I anticipated.
Okay. Good, Tom. You good?
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions you may have?
Anybody have thoughts? I guess we'll have some discussion, and we may have some that we'll ask for you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just see, looking at that. So we don't have to, there was some information in our packages about parking, and that was resolved about the number of parking spaces that were required. I saw that in our section. It didn't look like it was an action item for us.
It's not, there's a different code provision that deals with that. And basically, we have to do a parking study and then go in front of the TRC, and the TRC makes that decision. So we weren't sure at that point which way it needed to go, and we confirmed that it goes to TRC, so we pulled that out.
That's outside of our purview.
Right, yeah. It's just that like, the variance we grant, the TRC could determine that it wouldn't work anyway, based on that parking. That is a possibility with this variance. Because you're getting this before you go back to your approval.
We're doing this before we go
Right.
back with the TRC
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
additional parking. I mean, it could adjust our parking, but it still doesn't change the traffic flow that we're trying to accomplish.
They do need to obtain the variance before they can proceed with any further review of the technical review.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted that again to
Right.
just be on the record. All right, thank you.
It's kind of chicken or egg thing, but we
Yeah.
do need to go ahead and get this done, so then we can go do our parking study and go to TRC.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'll ask if, Catherine, any additional information?
Nope, nothing further from staff.
Okay. What is, ask if discussion or thoughts?
I went to the site, and they're using the existing access off of Shipyard Boulevard, and the traffic pattern they've laid out makes sense. It also makes sense for a safety aspect for their clientele. And the way the building's laid out, in my mind, the drive-through itself is not on Shipyard Boulevard, just the lanes to get from the order point to the pickup point. So I don't think the drive-through is on Shipyard. It's just 2 lanes of traffic. And the signage, again, that's kind of unique to a double-stack drive-through. So.
Anyone else?
I think the added element to me is the public safety aspect and the fact that there is a fire station immediately adjacent to it, and being cognizant of how this site is used and how traffic is contained on the site versus spilling it out onto Shipyard, I think is important in the big picture.
Anybody else? Any thoughts or emotions?
If there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2 variance requests as they do meet the 4 findings of fact and actually do present a more safe layout for the public.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there, excuse me, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, that being seconded, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to see if there's any other items for today.
Nothing further from staff at this time.
All right, that being the case, we're adjourned. Thank you.